weather forecast after we take this look at news. Beaver County Radio News correspondent Sandy Giordano reports that a truck crashed into a telephone pole in Rochester on Monday. According to Acting Police Chief Don King, an unidentified driver suffered a medical issue at 3 p.m. just above the Rochester roundabout. Acting Chief King also told Beaver County Radio Tuesday morning that the Rochester Fire Department was called to the scene. That is all the details we have at this time. According to a release from State Representative Roman Kozak's office, Kozak made a statement after Governor Josh Shapiro unveiled his budget priorities for the 2025-2026 fiscal year. Kozak confirmed that the taxes on energy the governor suggested will stretch the budget of working families. Kozak also suggested an idea that outlined limiting spending and the cutting of both taxes and corporate welfare. According to a release from State Representative Rob Mattsie's office, the Pennsylvania House adopted a resolution from Mattsie to increase public awareness about the dangers of rheumatoid arthritis. The bill, known as House Resolution 16, made a designation that February 2, 2025 was Rheumatoid Arthritis Day in Pennsylvania. According to Mattsie, people with rheumatoid arthritis have an estimated chance of a 50 to 70% higher risk to have cardiovascular disease than the general population. Lincoln Park Performing Arts Center will present the musical Tom Sawyer, a Ballet, from February 20th through the 23rd at the Main Stage Theater. This compelling story retells the Mark Twain tale with folk dancing, comedy, and ballet with a live orchestra. Tickets are $18 at LincolnParkArts.org, or you can call 724-576-4644 for the Lincoln Park box office. The shows start at 7:30 p.m. on February 20th, 21st, and 22nd, as well as at 2 p.m. on February 22nd and February 23rd. President Donald Trump is signing an executive order designed to prevent people who were biologically assigned male at birth from participating in women's or girls' sporting events. Wednesday's order, which Trump is expected to sign at an afternoon ceremony, marks another aggressive shift by the president's second administration in the way the federal government deals with transgender people and their rights. The president put out a sweeping order on his first day in office last month that called for the federal government to define sex as only male or female, and for that to be reflected on official documents such as passports and in policies such as federal prison assignments. More than 60 counties in Pennsylvania have a shortage of public defenders for low-income residents who need these services. This Friday in Pittsburgh, a recruitment event takes place to help fill jobs for public defenders' offices statewide. Here's more from Danielle Smith.
The University of Pittsburgh School of Law co-hosts the statewide Career Day event with the Public Defender Association of Pennsylvania to help connect law students from any law school with potential jobs. Megan Lovett with the University of Pittsburgh says so far they have 50 or more applications, both for internships and attorney positions.
We've had students that interviewed at this fair last year that ended up getting jobs in a county that maybe they wouldn't have considered before, and a county that may have had trouble recruiting from the law student population.
She says she hopes that, like last year, counties across the state will see applications from this event. Each year, public defender offices handle cases that would normally require more than 1,200 full-time attorneys, but only about 850 are working statewide.
Here's the Beaver County forecast.
Cloudy today with a slight chance of an afternoon snow shower. We'll see a high near 33. A winter weather advisory will be in effect from 7 p.m. this evening through 10 a.m. tomorrow morning, as freezing rain is expected tonight through the overnight. We'll drop down to a low around 30. Mostly cloudy and breezy tomorrow with rain likely through mid-afternoon. We'll reach a high near 51 and a low around 27. And mostly sunny on Friday. We'll see a high near 33 and a low of 24. I'm Lisa Marie with your Beaver County weather.
That's a look at the news for now. I'm Noah Haswell on 99.3 FM and AM 1230 WBVP, also streaming live around the world at beavercountyradio.com.
Are you ready? It's time to find out what is on the mind of Eddie Crow. It's something to crow about on Beaver County Radio, 99.3 FM and 1230 WBVP. Now, here's the host of the show, Eddie Crow.
It's gone up a little bit. 26 degrees, 10 minutes after 10. I'm looking forward to this next hour for a couple reasons. One, I think it's a wonderful and necessary topic to bring up from time to time. And two, Rick and Dave explain everything. Rick Mattia and Dave Aiken. I say it wrong again. I said it wrong last time. You got all bristly.
That's right.
Yeah. Aiken?
Aiken.
Like Claude Aiken.
I'm aching all over.
Yeah, I remember it like that. The organization is the National Alliance of Mental Illness. You guys come by and we talk about this stuff once a month. But for people that haven't heard us, what is, I call it NAMI. Is that acceptable or?
NAMI, NAMI.
NAMI?
Depends.
Okay, NAMI.
Depends the part of the country you're in.
What is it?
We say NAMI here.
We say NAMI?
Yeah.
Okay. I get your name wrong. You're trusting me with NAMI, NAMI?
Yeah.
Right. What is it?
What, my name?
No, NAMI.
No, NAMI.
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 This is why I want you guys here more than once a month.
Well,
and Dave, for those of you not watching this on the feed on Facebook, Dave's just sitting over here giggling.
Well, NAMI, that's the National Alliance on Mental Illness. That's a grassroots organization, education, advocacy, support, and that's what we deal in. We have our office, our building is down at 1229 3rd in Beaver, right across from the cemetery.
Yeah,
and
main drag.
Right, and we do have programs at the building, plus with Rick's guidance, we have a lot of online programs. So we've really entered the 21st century as far as providing services and outreach.
When you talk about online programs, was that something that spawned out of necessity from COVID? Was it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And a lot of people don't want to go back. If we have a program in the evening, they may not like to drive at night, or Do you
still run into people that wish to?
Well, I hope I don't run into them. I might get hurt.
The people that want to remain anonymous, that are kind of sheepish about taking advantage of the opportunity of this program?
Definitely. All of our programs are all confidential.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we will have a new person come to a group and they will be completely quiet. And we try to tell them, just when you feel like talking, then you can talk. If you just want to sit and be quiet, that's fine. And usually after a couple weeks or a couple meetings, people will begin to open up gradually as they feel more comfortable in the environment and with the people in the group with them.
Let people know where they can get this information about what we're talking about by going online, websites and all that. And then I want to ask you about some of these programs.
All right. We can. You can go online at NAMIBeaverCounty@gmail.com. NAMIBeaverCounty@gmail.com.
All right.
And we have. You're going to tell them about the phone.
Yeah. So right now, our brick and mortar is used for just a couple programs. We are not stationed there at the office. So if you want to get a hold of us, you would have to call us at 724-888-6877. And we are voicemail only because we are not there at the office. So as of right now, we are voicemail only. So in the event that somebody leaves a message, I will get back to them. And then the NAMIBeaverCo@gmail.com is the email address that is easiest to get a hold of us as well. So that just to make it a little bit easier, we would most likely not be at the office during off hours that we don't have support groups.
How many calls a week come in?
We get several. We do. There's a lot of advocacy questions, and luckily now we have a couple people that are on board as volunteers that can do that with us and for us.
What is an advocacy question? Calling on behalf of somebody else?
Correct. Okay. And it's about information, maybe legal information or hospital information that that they're unaware of or might need a little bit more information about. So we have in the past we've kind of provided other resources, but now we have a couple of individuals internally that can answer those questions.
Dave Aitken and Rick Mattia are my guests. It's the National Alliance Mental Illness. The calls that you get, is there a topic or an issue or a potential program that more people are interested in?
Usually family support is what they get from us from when they call. Typically, I'll give information out to either Beaver County Behavioral Health or Mental Health Association or Neighborhood Legal resources. Those are the ones that I usually give the information outwardly to whenever they call in. But if they want to utilize one of our internal programs or support groups, usually family support, the connections group that we do in person on Tuesdays at 11:30 at the office. Those are the two that they primarily will get information for when they call in based on the needs that they have.
Dave, talk about the different programs. How much is about just getting out and socializing, and how much is specific treatment?
Well, we don't really treat. We just sort of advise, encourage.
Okay.
Actually, a lot of times when we get a call or somebody comes, we are just providing a sounding board or someone other than their family to listen. They have all this built up frustrations. They're not sure what to do. And
how do you develop trust with somebody that's coming to you seemingly as a last resort?
Yeah. Well, a lot of times people are drowning. They're grasping for straws, and they don't have anyone to talk to, and they will open up and they will talk a lot because that's what you need. I know when I first became ill, that's what I needed. So having gone through it myself before, but people come and I have this problem. I have an adult child and he's not getting along with his siblings, or he's not getting along with my wife or my mother, and you just have a lot of problems. You have people with, and usually it's adult children or a spouse. Maybe there's drug abuse. They need to know what to do. Somebody has been placed in the county jail and they're just overwhelmed. And that's basically what it is. These people are overwhelmed. Where do I get the help? What do? I need somebody I can talk to that understands what I'm going through and is not just going to sit there and say, yeah, okay. Somebody that can really participate, listen, and give them solid feedback, hope, and encouragement.
How much more connection instantly appears when you talk about openly you going through this, your illness?
I'm sorry.
How much more trust comes out when you talk about your illness?
Oh, well, they know, we might be in a lifeboat from the Titanic, but we're both in the same lifeboat. I'm talking from experience. I'm not talking out of a textbook or something I learned in school. Or, I've been there. And so I can relate when somebody tells me the medicine's made me gain weight. What do I do? Or my son's gained weight. I can explain what's going on. When somebody says, I can't get out of bed, and everybody's telling me just to pick myself up by my bootstraps and do it, well, it's not going to happen. So they can open up and tell me things, and I understand where they're coming from.
How much are you proof that if you work at it, it can get better?
Well,
do you think about the example you're setting?
Yeah, well, definitely. And I can relate to somebody. Now, if somebody comes to me and they say, I'm trying to do this, but I just can't do it. I just can't leave the apartment.
I want to. I can't make myself sit up.
And I can say, I understand. I've gone through the same thing. And I know how the medicine affects you. Sometimes you can eat. Sometimes you can't eat. Sometimes you eat when you don't want to eat.
Make yourself eat.
Yeah, you make yourself eat, or you can't keep yourself from eating. So all these different symptoms or results from taking the medicine, I'm speaking to them from firsthand.
And if you're talking about eating, do you focus, or when you were going through this, would there be one food that you would eat every day for 4 or 5 months and then instantly stop? Did you do that?
Well, I used to. It would be, what I like things to nibble on.
Okay, so a little bit of everything?
Yeah, a little bit of snacks. Then I tried to get healthy and nibble on celery.
Okay.
Well, it doesn't give you the same kick as the other stuff, but it's a little bit more healthy and you don't gain weight. Especially, Now, personally, I went from a 38-inch waist up to a 46-inch waist.
Celery didn't do that.
No, celery, that's why I started eating celery.
Yeah.
But my weight would fluctuate, and I would go from 46 down to 40 or 42. And so in my cupboard, I had to keep different size clothes because depending on the medicine they tried, the effect it had on me, and it's really devastating,
And explain to people that don't understand, when you're trying to treat mental illness with medication, there is a learning curve, and that learning curve, it turns into 15 different snakes the more medicine and different dosages that you introduce, doesn't it?
Right, and then what they're doing, a lot of times they'll try a medicine that should treat your symptoms. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. So you may try several medications before you find one that works. I was on a medication, it worked for like a year,
right.
Then it stopped working.
Right.
So then we had to go through the process. And of course, when you stop taking medicine, you have to be weaned off it. So you don't take any medicine for a week or so until that's out of your system. Then you try something else, and hopefully that works. Or sometimes the medicine will work in conjunction with another medicine. But it's a trial and error type of thing.
And if somebody is coming to your organization, they probably have not had any background or history in dealing with this, have they?
Right. Usually, especially, all the new people, and they just don't understand. I'm eating. I'm not hungry, but I have to keep eating even though I don't want to eat. Or
the last thing you want to do is get up and go to the kitchen, but you lost 4 pounds.
Or I can't get out of bed to the point that I'm hungry, but I can't get out of bed to make myself something to eat.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I'm chained in bed. Or people turn their days and nights upside down. That's quite frequently. In fact, I've gone through that right now.
We're talking to you in the middle of the night. I'm not making fun. I've done the same thing.
That's right. And now I've been on medicine. I've been sick for about 30 years. So even though I've gone through all the medicine and I know the drill, it affects me, so.
Rick, I want to ask you about something Dave just said. Mm-hmm. He said, as long as I've been talking about being sick, okay? How long does it take to come to terms with it, to be that comfortable with it, to talk out loud because of the stigma that we've talked about before?
I think that's a wonderful question, and I wanted to touch on that anyway, because I think that if someone's willing to take that first step, that's really what it would take for someone to recognize, this might be the right environment for me or whatever. With their mental health, taking that first step, I think, is the biggest challenge, because I think that sometimes people just don't either believe in the interventions, or they think that it's like the common cold and it's just going to go away, their depression or anxiety, if they just get past this next thing or whatever, and then it just ends up being a lifelong issue that that they could have just done something about rather than just allowing it to happen, thinking that it's going to go away. With ours being support group oriented more so than obviously a one-on-one kind of a situation,
right.
it takes a little bit more for somebody to become comfortable with that, because there's an embarrassment factor, or just recognizing that other people are potentially facing the same kind of things that you are. But once they do, that might be the right thing for them. Or even if they're just in with one of our groups once or twice, that doesn't mean that it was unsuccessful. They might have gotten whatever they needed from the once or twice that they'd been in one of our groups.
I want to say something, and I want you to correct me. I don't need counseling because this is just part of life and you swim through it. Correct me, please.
Well, yeah, I think that everybody would benefit from having somebody to talk to. I think a third-party individual, I don't want to get too much into the therapy end of things,
right.
But even with what we provide or therapy, having a third-party individual to kind of sound off with and talk about whatever it might be that you're experiencing will allow you to look at it from a little bit of a different perspective than what you've just been doing to yourself.
Don't you just benefit by trying to look at it from a different perspective? Or how difficult is that? Because if you can't get off the couch, you're probably not intellectually capable at that moment of deep thoughts.
Change is difficult in general. I mean, we know this, but at the same time, if somebody recognizes that that's not okay, that in itself is a first step. When you've been in that bed and you think that that's just part of your normal routine, that's a little different than recognizing, then saying, oh boy, you know what, this is probably something I shouldn't do anymore.
And that's when your friends are saying, seriously, what are you doing?
Correct.
Or you hope that your friends are saying that.
Yes.
So who got you to look at it that way?
My family.
Did they?
Yeah, back in the day. Yeah, I had some issues early on, middle school, things like that. And I was blessed to have a therapist that, was a lifelong individual that kind of helped me, navigate through different things that I experienced in life. So, but early on, my family, there were a lot of things that I just, separation anxiety and things like that were my issues back in the day, and I was lucky enough to have them recognize that, and then I knew that was something that was keeping me from being the best version of myself. Not saying that I'm the best version of myself, but it was
better.
Better. There we go. Better is a good word.
Dave, what flipped the switch for you?
Well, what works for me is a lot of times it doesn't work. I have to really concentrate. For example, okay, I'm comfortable by talking about myself being sick,
Yes.
about the mental illness. Right now, I cannot read. I love to read, but I cannot read. I cannot concentrate enough to read more than 2 paragraphs in a book. Now, eventually, that's going to fade away, and I'll be able to read again.
Why is this medication?
No, it's
or is this
the depression.
Okay, it's basically taking it in steps and chunks.
Yes. Yeah.
Information. Okay.
Right. And then, but again, if I'm dealing with say I have a family member and they have a mental illness, and they're telling me things, had I never been sick before, I would say, well, just do it. What's the matter with you?
Bootstraps.
Why can't you? Yeah, bootstrap.
Yeah.
But now I don't do that because I understand, even not in just a NAMI setting, but when I'm dealing with other family members or friends that may have a problem, they actually get the benefit of the experience I've gained with NAMI.
Dave Aiken and Rick MATTIA are with me. You can watch this. It is being live Facebook fed on the station Facebook. The organization, National Alliance of Mental Illness. More questions after news. Hang on.
Let's face it, work is a large part of your life. Why not choose a job that allows the opportunity of a fulfilling career working with people who appreciate you? St. Barnabas Health System is looking for extraordinary, service-minded people to join our team. Earn and learn with career opportunities on our clinical, housekeeping, and food service teams. For more information and to apply, visit stbarnabashealthsystem.com or call 724-444-JOBS. Jobs that are apart from the ordinary. Find them at St. Barnabas Health System.
You're listening to Beaver County Radio, brought to you live from the Fry Transportation Studios. Beaver County Radio and Fry Transportation, a winning team. 99.3 FM and WBVP, providing news, sports, and information for 76 years.
In a recent live broadcast, Dale Reckless from MRS Physical Therapy stated that if you are over 65 years old, the CDC recommends getting an annual fall risk screening.
Your vestibular system is similar, where it starts to slow down at the age of 40 to 50 years old. Your balance systems start to change at the age of 40 to 50 years old, and they keep getting worse. So it's not just something you do once, but you should do it annually, because your body continues to change year to year as you get older.
If you need physical therapy for any reason, choose the place that your friends and neighbors do. MRS Physical Therapy, located in Stone Point Landing in Bridgewater, or Cranberry Physical Therapy on Route 19 in Cranberry. For more information, call Dale Reckless today at 724-728-7550 or visit mrsphysicaltherapy.com.
There's exciting news. A new pharmacy in New Brighton just opened, Forward RX. It's an independent community pharmacy that fills prescriptions at transparent cost-plus pricing on many generic medications. No insurance or discount coupons needed. Brandon Anthonopoulos will discuss your needs and how Forward RX can help you save money. The pharmacy experience you deserve is more affordable than you think. Become a Forward member today. Stop in 809 3rd Avenue, New Brighton, or check their prices at fwdrx.com.
Put freedom in your future. Freedom United Federal Credit Union in Rochester. Beaver County Radio's news source. 99.3 FM, 1230 WBVP, and beavercountyradio.com. Here's Noah Haswell.
Good morning on this Wednesday, February 5th of 2025. There's a winter weather advisory from 7 p.m. tonight until 4 a.m. tomorrow morning. We will have a complete Beaver County radio weather forecast after we take this look at news. Beaver County radio news correspondent Sandy Giordano reports that a truck crashed into a telephone pole in Rochester on Monday. According to Acting Police Chief Don King, an unidentified driver suffered a medical issue at 3 p.m. just above the Rochester roundabout. Acting Chief King also told Beaver County Radio Tuesday morning that the Rochester Fire Department was called to the scene. That is all the details we have at this time. According to a release from State Representative Roman Kozak's office, Kozak made a statement after Governor Josh Shapiro unveiled his budget priorities for the 2025-2026 fiscal year. Kozak confirmed that the taxes on energy the governor suggested will stretch the budget of working families. Kozak also suggested an idea that outlined limiting spending and the cutting of both taxes and corporate welfare. According to a release from State Representative Rob Mattsi's office, the Pennsylvania House adopted a resolution from Matsi to increase public awareness about the dangers of rheumatoid arthritis. The bill, known as House Resolution 16, made a designation that February 2, 2025 was Rheumatoid Arthritis Day in Pennsylvania. According to Matsi, people with rheumatoid arthritis have an estimated chance of a 50 to 70% higher risk to have cardiovascular disease than the general population. Lincoln Park Performing Arts Center will present the musical Tom Sawyer, a Ballet, from February 20th through the 23rd at the Main Stage Theater. This compelling story retells the Mark Twain tale with folk dancing, comedy, and ballet with a live orchestra. Tickets are $18 at lincolnparkarts.org, or you can call 724-576-4644 for the Lincoln Park box office. The shows start at 7:30 p.m. on February 20th, 21st, and 22nd, as well as at 2 p.m. on February 22nd and February 23rd. President Donald Trump is signing an executive order designed to prevent people who were biologically assigned male at birth from participating in women's or girls' sporting events. Wednesday's order, which Trump is expected to sign at an afternoon ceremony, marks another aggressive shift by the president's second administration in the way the federal government deals with transgender people and their rights. The president put out a sweeping order on his first day in office last month that called for the federal government to define sex as only male or female, and for that to be reflected on official documents such as passports and in policies such as federal prison assignments. More than 60 counties in Pennsylvania have a shortage of public defenders for low-income residents who need these services. This Friday in Pittsburgh, a recruitment event takes place to help fill jobs for public defenders' offices statewide. Here's more from Danielle Smith.
The University of Pittsburgh School of Law co-hosts the statewide Career Day event with the Public Defender Association of Pennsylvania to help connect law students from any law school with potential jobs. Megan Lovett with the University of Pittsburgh says so far they have 50 or more applications both for internships and attorney positions.
We've had students that interviewed at this fair last year that ended up getting jobs in a county that maybe they wouldn't have considered before, and a county that may have had trouble recruiting from the law student population.
She says she hopes that, like last year, counties across the state will see applications from this event. Each year, public defender offices handle cases that would normally require more than 1,200 full-time attorneys, but only about 850 are working statewide.
Here's the Beaver County forecast.
Cloudy today with a slight chance of an afternoon snow shower. We'll see a high near 33. A winter weather advisory will be in effect from 7 p.m. this evening through 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. As freezing rain is expected tonight through the overnight, we'll drop down to a low around 30. Mostly cloudy and breezy tomorrow with rain likely through mid-afternoon. We'll reach a high near 51 and a low around 27. And mostly sunny on Friday. We'll see a high near 33 and a low of 24. I'm Lisa Marie with your Beaver County weather.
That's a look at the news for now. I'm Noah Haswell on 99.3 FM and AM 1230 WBVP, also streaming live around the world at beavercountyradio.com.
Are you ready? It's time to find out what is on the mind of Eddie Crow. It's something to crow about on Beaver County Radio, 99.3 FM and 1230 WBVP. Now, here's the host of the show, Eddie Crow.
Rolling through what's okay so far a day. It's 26 degrees tonight. It might get a little bit weird. We're basking in the glow of today. It's 25 minutes till 11 o'clock. And Dave is here. Rick is here. Dave Aiken and Rick MATTIA of the National Alliance of Mental Illness. This is on our Facebook page. It's being live fed there. Dave, I wanted to ask you because you've spoken, and for people, we have this talk once a month. You've spoken before of your illness and spoken openly, and I think that's brilliant. What first led you to look up and go, hey, NAMI, what is that organization? How did they find you? How did the organization, how did you find it?
Well, I had an employee counselor that originally worked for the Beaver County, and she directed me to NAMI, and actually gave me a phone number to call. There were three ladies that were primarily the founders, and I talked to the one lady, Marge Kearns. And as I have found in my own experience now, I was on the phone for about an hour, and she basically just let me talk because that's what I needed at the time. And since then, I have done the same thing for other people.
What made you open up to a total stranger on a phone?
Well, actually, I was told what NAMI was basically, and she had been the patient advocate, or she was the patient advocate at Mayview.
Okay.
And her daughter at the time was in Dixmont.
Okay.
So I knew I was talking to somebody
that knew a little something.
That knew what was going on, yeah.
Why did it get so comfortable so quickly to talk for an hour?
Well, I mean, she was just easy to talk to. Well, the fact is, I needed somebody to talk to.
Did you know that when you called her?
No, I didn't. In fact, I could have been talking to a telephone pole. I just needed somebody to talk to. But I didn't realize I needed somebody to talk to. And when it started to come out, then it just all came out. It flowed out. And she was able to interject at certain points to give me some advice or some counsel and to let me know that I was all right, that this was not an uncommon thing that was happening to me.
Is that part of what kept you from communicating before that? Is that I'm the only one that has these issues?
Right. Now, when I was still working, there would be a lot of people with rude and ignorant comments as I was getting... The depression was setting in, and I won't mention what all was said, but, which is what I expect. Working in Beaver County 30, 40 years ago, you expected you were going to be called everything but a human being. And
and it's none of my business, and if you want to tell me that, right on, but how is it manifesting itself to the people around you so much that they're giving you grief about it?
Yeah, well... I was off work for 6 months, and I tried to and then they put me back to work. I wanted to see if I could really work, and I couldn't.
Oh, and they thought you were jaking it?
Well, no, but the people were making comments about mental illness, only they weren't calling it mental illness. They were saying all sorts of other things.
The stuff that perpetuated shame.
In fact, the cupboard in the building where I was working, someone put a hangman's noose in there.
What was that?
That was for my benefit because they figured I would be suicidal because had mental problems.
Oh, okay.
Now, it didn't really surprise me because I knew I was used to working with those guys, and it didn't really surprise me. But, I mean, it wasn't really, talk about stigma. There's stigma for you.
Did anybody from that idiotic, and I'll use the word idiotic group, approaching it that way, did anybody come around over time, or did you get out of the toxic environment? What happened? Because that's swimming uphill against idiocy, it sounds like.
Yeah, well, it was the point I couldn't do my job, and then they put me on disability right away, so now I no longer had to go to work. They no longer would allow me to go to work. I couldn't think fast enough to do my job.
And your job was yardman?
Yardmaster, yeah.
Yeah, yardmaster for trains.
Yardmaster at Conway Yard back when it was the busiest push-button yard in the world.
Did you ever think maybe this job isn't helping either?
Well, you know what?
Because there's a whole lot of stress to pointing 1,000 things in 1,000 different directions nonstop.
Well, what I used to do, I found I was escaping into reality.
Oh, that's a great band name. Go ahead.
So what I would do with any problems I had, I would just really pour myself into the job, and really that helped me focus because I was more than a normal focus. I was giving it everything I had because that was the escape I had from all the other problems I had with mental illness and so forth.
When did it get to the point of diminishing returns? Focusing.
Well, you know what?
Because it's a control thing you're talking about.
Yeah,
if I can focus on my job, it's okay.
Yeah, and it got to the point I was at work one day, I was all right, so to speak. The next day, I just couldn't focus enough to do anything, just about, let alone pour myself into the job and distract myself that way.
When you became willing to have a conversation with somebody about the depression, right? Did that happen because you knew you needed help? And how much did that happen because you knew needing help put other people at risk?
Well, I knew that. I went over and talked to the terminal superintendent and said, I can't do my job safely anymore. I'm going to get somebody hurt or cause a derailment, a real hazardous situation. And then they put me on disability, they didn't put me on disability. They put me on sick leave. And then they directed me to the employee counselor, and then she was the one that was able to aim me toward NAMI. She was very familiar with those three ladies that were the founders of NAMI.
Rick, I want to ask you how much, I don't want to say easier because it's not, but how much less difficult is it now to start looking at this process than it was for Dave when he had to look as far as the stigma and idiots doing stupid things around you? It is easier than that, right?
I believe so, yeah. I think that was more of like the dark ages, like he said, 30, 40 years ago. I think that was still considered like the dark ages of mental health and receiving assistance for it. I think last time I complimented our community for having so many partners in mental health and services, and I think everybody really has their heart in the right place for this type of work from what I've seen. So I think there's a variety of different things that are out there, and there's different ways that people get involved. We have this youth ambassador program now, not NAMI but the county, and we're part of it, and it allows for high school students from the various schools in the county to get together and have some presenters and have us as outreach people for them to come and talk to and get some of our information. So that's starting at a pretty young age, which is great for everybody to have a little better of an understanding of what they're dealing with and what each other's dealing with. So
you talk about the community. That's the community, the awareness and attempted helping for mental illness. Is that community growing?
Absolutely, yeah. I think that there's there's a variety of services. Even at that meeting that I just had spoken about last week, there was a ton of us around the edges of the CCBC dome that provide the information to the students that were in attendance there. So it's so even in just with that example, it shows that there's a variety of different agencies that are available for people and their needs.
Is it growing because of the increased need, or is it growing because of the decreasing stigma, or somewhere in between?
I would say it's somewhere in between. I kind of thought with COVID that the stigma was really going to go away because everybody in one way or another was dealing with a mental health issue, whether it be depression or anxiety or something else. But it didn't stay. So the stigma, unfortunately, I think has increased again after that. Why
did you think it would be better because of COVID? Everybody was going to start to feel these things and recognize that they are valid issues.
Yes, which I do believe happened. I do believe that happened at least for a period of time. Whether it was somebody that believed in COVID or not, they were still impacted by the limitations, the restrictions, the fear of the illness. So they're all across the board. Somebody was feeling something, regardless if you believed it or not.
There was anxiety. You just had to pick your flavor.
There you go. That's a wonderful way to put it. So I thought that was probably going to have an effect that, everybody now is seeing this from a little bit of a different perspective, but nonetheless they're seeing it at all. But I think as the further that we've gotten away from that, we've kind of eased back into thinking that, this is just something that I can kind of deal with, or, that was really not, not the fear that it had us all feeling really wasn't real anyway. So, we don't need to, feel, like we need to have an intervention or anything like that. So I think that, we've kind of eased into complacency.
How much do you believe social media, and this is out of the blue, but I've got you guys and you're experts way more than me. Rick MATTIA and Dave Aitken are here with the National Alliance of Mental Illness. General question, how much does social media scramble our brains?
I mean, I don't think we have enough time for my opinion on this.
Yeah, we do. Go ahead. I'll make time.
Honestly, I think that it was started as a tool to help people with being in touch with family members and friends outside of what they were able to do just in their own home communities. Things like YouTube allow us to learn new skills and things like that. I think that it unfortunately had a negative effect with everyone being allowed to have an opinion, which is fine. That's fine. But I think the oppositional nature of what people do has made it problematic. And then, that has just led to a lot of different issues with people not understanding one another, people that are, genuinely asking a question and they get, blasted by people that either don't agree with them or think that what their question was silly. And what we learned in school was that no question is stupid, right? When the teachers tell you that. But now, we have this platform that has made us feel like whatever we think or want or, something that we question is now not something that we have the right to ask. And, that concerns me a little bit because that leads to more people not having a voice and feeling that, their neighbor might not, agree with them or accept them. And I'm not in love with that aspect of social media.
And Dave, I want to ask you, you're coming at it from a little bit older perspective. You remember a time, Rick, do you remember a time before the internet?
Yes.
Do you? Dave, you remember the before time when we actually talked to people
face you actually went to the library and
read a book?
Read a book, yes.
All right. How good / bad is the technology that's currently embedded in our world?
Well,
because there are benefits.
Sort of an amateur historian and I used to do some writing that where you used to go and pore over books in the library and maybe spend 3 hours and get one sentence you could use.
And go, that's the one.
Yeah, or you would stare at the microfilm for hours and you'd pick your eyeballs up off the floor and go home. You know, I mean, it's a lot easier. You just Google something and poof, it's all there. It's the work's all done for you. Most of the work is done. Now there's still some things you have to dig out, but and of course sometimes you just can't beat going back and looking at the original source on paper.
How comfortable are you with having to? You said sources to dig out. How comfortable are you digging out sources that you have no real way of knowing if they're valid?
Well, that's the problem. You have to really verify that you have. You don't want to be repeating something that's wrong. It's very easy to put something out. I wrote a small article one time, and I had a.
What was it about?
It was about railroad.
Okay.
Okay. Well, there was an error in there, so I tried to have it corrected. Well, the paper, it was published, so that error is out there.
Forever and ever.
Forever and ever. And I had people come up to me and they say, I'm going to use your article as a resource. And I said, well, this sentence is wrong.
Yeah.
You have to correct that. And they didn't. So there, that error is just
so now you
perpetual.
Look wrong. They look wrong.
Yeah, but see, nobody knows they're wrong unless they went back to some original sources, which they're probably not going to do because they need to have to spend hours digging through source material. So now that wrong sentence, it's out there, and anybody just Googles it, they're going to read the wrong sentence and think that's gospel.
I'm going to ask you a deep question because I think you're going to give me a good answer, Dave. If enough people believe a wrong answer, does it become a right answer?
Right. That's sort of like the man that shot Liberty Valance, you know. If it's that's exactly what happens, and then you know, it's out there. Then you have you have to prove your point of view, and the only way to really prove your point of view, go back to the source material. And
we're too lazy for that.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's a lot easier to just take that for what it says, whether it's right or wrong.
Rick, a deep question for you. If you take away all the technology and everything goes away, but we maintain the falling stigma of mental illness, are we more mentally healthy?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I think our reliance on things like cell phones, has made things worse. I know that you can think of it as a cathartic kind of an activity because you can scroll through and you don't have to think about whatever might be happening in your house or in your life. But at the same time, what are you looking at?
It's a place to hide.
Yeah. But what are you looking at, though? Is whatever you're looking at making you calmer, or, overall, is it not? So I think it's a question that, we would have to ask ourselves, what are we doing with our time?
How much calm do you need in your day to maintain the balance?
A decent amount.
Okay.
A decent amount. I have a lot of different responsibilities with work, and then, I have 2 children, and
that's enough right there.
A decent amount then. So I have things, that I've recognized. I think we all can do that. I think we can all take a look at our individual lifestyles and recognize what is it that really is something that makes us calm. And for me, it's not my phone. I'd be hypocritical to say that I'm not on one at times.
Business.
So it's just, so I am, but, I don't love everything that I see, and I try to focus on the things that are more cathartic to me.
Dave, I'll ask you kind of the same question. What is important in your life to maintain that balance, and what's important to have less of in your life to maintain that balance?
Well, I do, in addition to NAMI, I do a lot of volunteering, AARP, Old Economy Village, and various...
What do you do at Old Economy Village?
I am Belschnickel.
I knew that. I heckled you walking by my house last Christmas.
Well, that's why you're on the naughty list.
That's exactly right. I was like, I live right there. Right. Was that a learning curve to realize that those things, giving to others, helps give back to you? Or did somebody have to explain that to you?
No, it was a learning curve. Well, especially at Belschnickel. And we do the school tours in December. And that's the highlight of my year, with all the kids come, and it's just fantastic.
please, before I let you guys go, Rick Mattia, Dave Aiken, National Alliance of Mental Illness, how do people get in touch with you? You've got programs, Timeless Expression, Game Night Grind. There's a bunch of programs. They take way too long to go through them. But for people that are interested, mental health needs, questions, or concerns, how do people get in touch with you?
So they can go to our website, which is www.namibeavercounty.org. They can ask us questions at namibeaverco@gmail.com. And they can call and leave us a voicemail at 724-888-6877. And then we do all the various outreach events in Beaver County as well. So you'd see one of our smiling faces at one of those too.
You guys are welcome anytime for any length of time. I knew the Belschnickel thing. I knew I had harassed you at some point over the holiday. That makes me feel. Now, see, I'm more calm knowing that I wasn't just screaming at a stranger.
Right. Well,
honey, I found the perfect place for my parents and us.
Where?
St. Barnabas. For us, the Woodlands Carriage Home Community. And for my parents, condominium-style living at the Village. My folks will love the Village. There's an indoor mall with shops, restaurants, and more. And we can relax, knowing they're safe and secure.
That's what I plan to do when we move to St. Barnabas. Relax.
Call 724-444-5568 or visit stbarnabascommunities.com.
It's hard to even put a title on what Tom Young at First Consultants in Beaver does. Calling him a financial planner or an insurance salesman or even a life coach still doesn't accurately describe the experience. That's because he brings dreams back to life or puts life back into retirement.
My job is to create in you the vision of the you that I think you can be, the place that I think you can get to. And you know what? I get frustrated because I see more greatness in people than they see in themselves. I see greater financial futures than they see in themselves. Most people don't believe they can get there.
Find out more by visiting firstconsultantsinc.com or engage in Tom Young's live simulcast presentation on the third Tuesday of each month beginning at 9:10 a.m. on Beaver County Radio and Facebook Live. All advisory services are offered through PL Wealth LLC. PL Wealth is a federally registered investment advisor. PL Wealth is in no way affiliated with First Consultants Inc., nor is First Consultants Inc. a registered investment advisor.
Beaver County Radio and Digital Media are proud to present the all-new Beaver County Chamber of Commerce State of the County this Friday, February 7th from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., live from the Fez in Hopewell. This year, Beaver County Commissioners Jack Manning, Daniel Camp, and Tony Amadeo will be joined by PA State Reps Josh Kale, Roman Kozak, Rob Matze, and State Senator Elder Bogle to discuss the current state of affairs in Beaver County. Beaver County Radio's Mike Romai will provide live coverage of the annual event on all aspects of Beaver County Radio. This show will also be video streamed live on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. The annual State of the County broadcast is being brought to you by the Fry Transportation Group, Falcone's Moon Township Ford, McGee Heating and Air Conditioning, J. Young Refuse, St. Barnabas Health System, the Cornerstone of Beaver County, the Latham team at eXp Realty, the Beaver County Chamber of Commerce, and Beaver County Radio.
Can the card you carry really change your life? It can, when it's a low-rate Freedom United Federal Credit Union fixed-rate Visa card. This is Pat Tervail, and I'm the lady in the loan department with the big scissors. No, silly. I'm not doing haircuts, but I am going to use those shears to cut up those nasty high-rate store charge cards you're carrying around. Why, you ask? Because you won't be needing those cards anymore after you take advantage of Freedom United's low 6.99% rate balance transfer special. Good for a limited time on new money transfers to a Freedom United Visa card with approved credit. Potential money saved on lower monthly payments really can be life-changing and potentially put more freedom in your future. Visit Freedom United Federal Credit Union, member NCUA Equal Housing Lender.
It's the sound of Beaver County, presented by St. Barnabas, WBVP, WMVA, 99.3 FM, and now available on 95.7 FM.
Beaver County Radio and Digital Media are proud to present the all-new Beaver County Chamber of Commerce State of the County this Friday, February 7th from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., live from the Fez in Hopewell. This year, Beaver County Commissioners Jack Manning, Daniel Camp, and Tony Amadeo will be joined by PA State Reps Josh Kale, Roman Kozak, Rob Matze, and State Senator Elder Bogle to discuss the current state of affairs in Beaver County. Beaver County Radio's Mike Romai will provide live coverage of the annual event on all aspects of Beaver County Radio. This show will also be video streamed live on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. The annual State of the County broadcast is being brought to you by the Fry Transportation Group, Falcone's Moon Township Ford, McGee Heating and Air Conditioning, J. Young Refuse, St. Barnabas Health System, the Cornerstone of Beaver County, the Latham team at eXp Realty, the Beaver County Chamber of Commerce, and Beaver County Radio.
You're listening to 99.3 FM, presented by St. Barnabas, in addition to 1230 WBVP Beaver Falls. County Radio's news source. 99.3 FM, 1230 WBVP, and BeaverCountyRadio.com. Here's Noah Haswell.
Good morning on this Wednesday, February 5th of 2025. There's a winter weather advisory from 7 p.m. tonight until 4 a.m. tomorrow morning. We will have a complete Beaver County Radio weather forecast after we take this look at news. Beaver County Radio news correspondent Sandy Giordano reports that a truck crashed into a telephone pole in Rochester on Monday. According to Acting Police Chief Don King, an unidentified driver suffered a medical issue at 3 p.m. just above the Rochester roundabout. Acting Chief King also told Beaver County Radio Tuesday morning that the Rochester Fire Department was called to the scene. That is all the details we have at this time. According to a release from State Representative Roman Kozak's office, Kozak made a statement after Governor Josh Shapiro unveiled his budget priorities for the 2025-2026 fiscal year. Kozak confirmed that the taxes on energy the governor suggested will stretch the budget of working families. Kozak also suggested an idea that outlined limiting spending and the cutting of both taxes and corporate welfare. According to a release from State Representative Rob Mattsi's office, the Pennsylvania House adopted a resolution from Matsi to increase public awareness about the dangers of rheumatoid arthritis. The bill, known as House Resolution 16, made a designation that February 2, 2025 was Rheumatoid Arthritis Day in Pennsylvania. According to Matsi, people with rheumatoid arthritis have an estimated chance of a 50 to 70% higher risk to have cardiovascular disease than the general population. Lincoln Park Performing Arts Center will present the musical Tom Sawyer, a Ballet, from February 20th through the 23rd at the Main Stage Theater. This compelling story retells the Mark Twain tale with folk dancing, comedy, and ballet with a live orchestra. Tickets are $18 at LincolnParkArts.org, or you can call 724-57